Hope you're having a good winter and staying warm. I'm actually videotaping this when it's been super chilly out, so something we're not really used to in Colorado because we're kind of spoiled with our beautiful 50-degree weather and sunshine. So hope everyone's staying toasty, and by the time you guys see this, I hope things have warmed up. So today, what I want to talk about is the 7 steps of staging and what staging truly involves. And it really does go beyond furniture and decor. There's other things that really make a house or listing stand out in the marketplace that are really simple and basic concepts, but they really need to be addressed and done really well so that you have the best outcome for the sale of your home. So what are those 7 things? We have cleaning, decluttering, updating and paint, repairs, arranging furniture, accessories, art and lighting, and professional photography. So that is a list compiled by the Real Estate Staging Association, to make sure that stagers as a whole in the industry really do hit all those elements when they're getting a home ready to sell. So obviously the first one is cleaning, right? And this is not just a little bit of cleaning or a quick pickup before, if guests over. This is the deep clean. We need everything clean, from those ceiling fans that collect dust above, all the way down to those baseboards, those nooks and crannies. Really, your home has to be spotless. Something I think of is, as far as like what my regular experience is. Have you ever had a really dirty car, right? Like it just snowed, it's dirty, maybe the inside needs a quick vacuum or something, and you go out, you're kind of like, the way you feel about your car is like, I don't really like my car, I don't know. And then you take it to the car wash and do the vacuum or make it detailed, and you leave that like car wash parking lot like, yeah, I'm on top of the world in my killer car, right? Whatever it is, it's like once it's clean, you feel so differently about it. And that is the same thing about a home. When a buyer walks into a clean home that doesn't have any funky smells, doesn't have just like, crustiness anywhere, those air filters, grates on the, that can be cleaned. You have maybe fresh, clean shower curtains, clean towels. Cleanliness is probably one of the biggest ways you can positively impact the sale of your home. So that's number 1. Number 2 is decluttering. We address this in our consultations a lot. A lot of times that's the big bulk of what we're telling people to do, because as homeowners, in our houses, we get really comfortable with our stuff. You kind of overlook it. You don't even see it half the time because it's just the norm and you're too busy to deal with it, which is understandable. But when it gets time to sell the house, we need everything decluttered. So a couple things to think of that may be like, oh, I didn't think about that, is when you look at your room, how many things are touching the floor? Really minimize that to your main large pieces of furniture. So a lot of times what I'll see is kind of like, maybe some extra bins in the corner. I know in my kitchen kind of seating area, we have where my kids, magnetiles are in a basket, and we have a little grouping of baskets. That's great for real life, but for selling the home, we want to show off those corners because it makes the house feel bigger. So what's on the floor in your home? That's one element. Another thing would be bookshelves. That's where we display maybe our trips and our travels and things that mean something to us. And so how many layers of things are on bookshelves? So a lot of times I'll look and you'll have like figurines and then maybe a bigger an award behind that, and behind that a picture. And I've seen up to 5 layers of things, which is great when you're trying to showcase the things that mean things to you. For selling, that looks like clutter in pictures, and it's very visually busy. So think about when you're looking at your bookshelves, try to get just 1 layer per bookshelf. Maybe 2, but really a good rule of thumb, unless someone's coming in and doing it for you, just 1 layer. So if you have figurines, your bookshelf, and let's say right now you have a picture behind it, a couple awards, and then a row of figurines, right? You know, if you have 5 figurines that are nice and even, it creates symmetry, get rid of everything behind it. So it's just a bookshelf with 5 figurines, okay? Something like that. So think about one layer on a bookshelf. So those are a couple decluttering tips. Obviously, one of the easiest things also to do is just take out seasonal items. Houses right now are selling quickly, and if you really want your home to sell quickly, just go for it. Do it all the way. Right now it's February. You're not going to be hosting Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. You're not going to be decorating for those holidays. This is a great time to empty your kitchen of any holiday platters, Christmas dishes, the extra towels for holidays. Get all those out of the cupboards. Same thing with, Christmas decor. Get that out into the garage. Garages are a great place to box things nicely, stack up against the wall, rather than in your closets, because buyers really care about the space they have in closets, and they're okay with your things being in the garage. They understand that, and they can kind of see beyond it. So those are a couple tips for decluttering. Let's see, the next thing would be updating and paint. I would say the number one thing you can do for bang for your buck is just repaint your house inside, right? We want nice, light, neutral colors. You also want to be, what's trending right now is kind of those warmer, cooler, I just contradicted myself. A warmer gray, so that grayish. It's a gray with a little bit of brown. I love Agreeable Gray from Sherwin-Williams. It does really great in our Colorado homes because we have bright sun, so we can't have something too stark. It'll make the room feel, a true bright white might make the room feel too cold unless it's done strategically, which we're not doing in the case of a staging. But what I love about Agreeable Gray or even Accessible Beige, those ones that have that warm gray tones to it, probably my 2 go-to colors from Sherwin-Williams, is that they really will pick up the gray in stonework in a home, which is really common in our mountain homes. I love seeing that. And it highlights that asset, which is, typically your fireplace or any tile work. It also kind of modernizes some trends that were really popular 15 years ago, like the Tuscan style. It just kind of cools that really warm look off. So paint is really big. Other upgrades to consider, probably the most common ones I'm usually recommending are lighting fixtures and fans. That's an easy way to move away if you have a lot of Tuscan. That seems to be a trend right now that I keep dealing with. If you have a lot of Tuscan in it, let's just switch out a couple lighting fixtures, especially in those really important rooms that buyers care about. Let's see, lighting fixtures, hardware, on your kitchen cabinets if that's needed, carpeting, and making sure wood flooring is in good condition. So those are some of the things. Another paint tip, that we're a lot of times doing is just a quick paint on your front door. It's your first impression to buyers coming in. If you have a more dated color scheme, maybe you did it 15 years ago, which is why you're moving now, right? It's pretty common. And red doors really big. Let's move to something like a black. I've been recommending a black or an iron ore. It looks good with the stucco stone trend that we have a lot in Colorado. And it just kind of brings it up to date. That's really hot right now. So those are a couple key updates that we can easily do, and it's really always worth it. If a buyer walks in and sees a clean, well-maintained home, they feel good about that purchase. They're not going to have cold feet, and they'll feel like they're moving into a new home, and they want that experience, right? They don't want to walk into a fixer-upper. That is just not a thing that buyers today are looking for. All right, actually continuing that same trend is repairs. Do not leave repairs. Sometimes I hear kind of the argument like, oh, well, I don't want to paint because I'll choose the wrong color. Maybe a buyer wants a different color, or I don't want to do that much work. Let's just sell and see what we got and move on. You are hurting yourself so much by doing that. Your investment on these things always has a great return on investment. You sell faster, you get better offers, and you get more confident buyers that aren't going to back out because they're nervous about the condition of the home, right? So what happens if they see that, the faucets are leaking or something? That's one of them that we would fix, right? All of a sudden that kind of is that red flag. Like, what else has this homeowner neglected to maintain? They start getting nervous about it. So repairs are critical. Just handle them. Bring in a handyman. Get them done before you put your house on the market. 3 weeks or a month even to do these items and really get your home really well prepared is worth it. So that is key. Let's see. Then it really comes into what I think is the fun stuff, right? The stuff that I a lot of times do after that. So I might make recommendations, all those things. We also will help with project management to handle all those things. So that's a newer service that we're offering right now, so we can get those things knocked out. But after that is kind of the thing you probably think of as staging for your clients, right? So we come in, we bring in the, furniture, or if it's an occupied home, it's really arranging furniture. So furniture arrangement with staging is different than if I was just designing for a home. Sometimes it could be the same, but there's factors we're looking at that's different with where that furniture sits. For example, when I think about how a homeowner or a buyer, is coming into that space, what is their first impression? I don't want them typically to be greeted with the back of a sofa. If they're going to get something like that, that's just the only layout option. We'll put a console table in the back. It needs to be something pretty, so they have a good first impression of that room. But really, typically what I'll do is do kind of an open L-shaped scheme. Is kind of the basic thing that opens up to where that photographer's taking pictures for that room. So in real life, it may make sense to do kind of a U shape, right? Pick, seating all the way around. But for staging and for selling your home and for the best photography angle, we want to kind of open it up so it feels open and welcoming in those pictures, and also it gives a sense of space. So the other element of this would be eliminating maybe too much or oversized furniture when we choose that arrangement. So maybe that overstuffed lazy boy recliner that is oh so loved might not fit for staging, and it's just a short period of time. We need to get that out of the house. So guarantee you can live with it. Or we'll find a really good spot for it that makes sense for your lifestyle, right? But the idea is to sell faster so that lazy boy finds its perfect spot in its new home. Okay. So that's arranging furniture next. So we're on to, let's see, what number are we on? 6 is really accessories, art, and lighting. So after we get our, and I'm doing a staging, let's say a vacant staging, I'm bringing in all the furniture, we put in all the big things. Then it's really those accessories, art, and lighting that makes the home really pop. Okay, so a lot of homes, like in occupied houses, we might have those big furniture pieces, but most people neglect to buy really the right number or size amount of furniture, of pillows, art, and tabletop accessories, right? So those are the things that give it that cozy, inviting, ooh, this looks like a model home kind of feel, because it's visually interesting and pretty, right? So accessories, those are the things that we're going to put on your coffee table, maybe in a grouping of 3. The centerpiece of your dining table, which pictures really well if you have something nice and tall, maybe with some candlesticks, really creating a focal point for that room. And then art is insanely critical, because that's actually what makes, that kind of flips that switch from, okay, it's just a house, it's kind of, to a home. And a lot of times what I'm looking at is larger pieces of art that's missing within an occupied home, or that's something we like to bring in when we stage a house, because it just makes a really great impact and focal point and helps draw the buyer's eyes to the livable spaces we want to sell, right? So over that sofa, beautiful piece of art, this is the gathering space for this room and the purpose for this room, and where you're going to start envisioning your lifestyle, which is, oh, I'm going to hang out there with my family, maybe game night, things like that. So That's where art comes in. Lighting. Now, we talked a little bit about overhead lighting, which is important, but that kind of goes in the update section. But the other thing we're bringing in when we bring in a stage, or even I brought it into occupied homes as well, is lighting fixtures. What needs to happen in certain rooms is make sure it's lit up properly to show off the space. No one wants a dark room, right? Sometimes we don't have to bring too much in. We have a very bright Colorado, right? Lots of sunshine, so it might not be like as necessary in those rooms, but we still need to make sure there's lighting. Let's say it's an evening showing. We need to make sure there's some lighting fixtures to light up the space and make sure it feels warm and cozy when someone comes in and they can actually see the space. So that's where lighting can play a key role. I'm thinking about a house that we looked at that had kind of a family room that was kind of sunk down and had dark beams, even though the walls itself were light. And so it had this a little bit of a like low ceiling feeling, even though it was fine once you got down the space. And it was like, and the windows were more limited. So in that area, it was like we're going to have to bring in like probably 3 lamps, kind of create a triangle within the room to make sure we're covering each area to really lighten up the space. So that is an example of where lighting plays a key role. And then finally, once all that's done, it's all pretty and staged, is the final element is really professional photography. So all the realtors that I work with, and I'm sure, you as a realtor, if you're watching this, you know the importance of professional photography. They are great at creating really great light spaces. When they take those pictures, they show well. It's not all shadowy. You don't want an iPhone picture on MLS, right? So getting the professional photography, really showcasing all that work that was put into that home, and making sure that those pictures on Zillow and Realtor, stand out and appeal to the most number of buyers. Because if they like the pictures, they're going to go see the home. And if they see the home, you have a better chance of getting an offer. So those are the 7 elements of what staging involves. And all of them need to be addressed for a successful sale of your home. If you have any questions or want to talk about a project, or maybe how clean is clean, or any of those kind of things, I'd love to chat. Feel free to give us a call at 719-445-6681, or you can always schedule a coffee chat with me on our online scheduling page. If you're new to this and new to bringing staging into your listings, we can always go into more depth or just chat about a listing maybe you're struggling with right now, or maybe homeowners that aren't quite on board. So that is always fun for me. I hope you're having a great day. Stay toasty and warm, and I'll see you next month.